The only time, and I already mentioned this, the only time where I made a mistake talking about Caitlyn and what she's done was on the podcast back in February that I apologize for, but it's like, nope, you hate her. It's funny, because just when I thought Sheryl Swoopes was about to swallow her words, maybe even own up to her mistakes, she hit us with another fat lie, the only time. This lady has been dropping unverified stats about Caitlin Clark with so much confidence that you'd think she's reading it off a script. Honestly, we gave her too many accolades for being a legend, and look where we are now, drowning in a sea of unverified claims. It's like we hyped her up so much, she thinks she can just rewrite history. We've got all her lies on tape, let's dig. You'd think that someone as celebrated as Sheryl Swoopes would be proud of the next generation of players, right?
Wrong.
It all started when Caitlin Clark was on the verge of breaking records in NCAA basketball, absolutely setting the sports world on fire. Instead of celebrating her, Swoopes decided to light a different kind of flame, fueled by jealousy and resentment. Let me paint the picture for you. Caitlin Clark was about to break the all-time NCAA scoring record, the kind of achievement that gets a standing ovation. But what did Swoopes do? She took to the media, claiming that Clark was only breaking the record because she had an extra year to do it. Records are made and set to be broken. But if you're going to break a record, this isn't just for Caitlin, but you asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that player set it, right? So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broken that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year, then there's another year. You know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. On the surface, Swoopes' claim might seem reasonable to some people. But here's where things take a sharp and honestly hilarious turn. It took me just seconds to pull up on Wikipedia, and surprise, Sheryl Swoopes was lying. A quick search shows that Caitlin Clark played only 4 years at Iowa. No extra eligibility year, no magical 5th season. How Swoopes arrived at beyond 4 years amazes us. So nice try, Swoopes, but facts don't play favorites. Caitlin Clark broke that record fair and square. And last I checked, the NCAA isn't handing out participation trophies for extra years in college ball. I remember that incredible day when Caitlin Clark kept the fans on their feet as she broke the record. You could feel the energy in the air as she took that shot, and when she finally drained that 35-foot three-pointer, the entire arena erupted. It was like everyone was waiting for that one magical moment. In fact, not only did Caitlin break the record without an extra year, but she did it in fewer games than Kelsey Plum. Yep, Caitlin reached this milestone in just 126 games, while Plum needed 139. Let that sink in for a moment. Caitlin did it in 13 fewer games. The very foundation of Swoopes' argument was built on a blatant lie. But it doesn't stop there. Oh no, it gets worse. It must have really hurt Sheryl Swoopes to watch a young player like Caitlin Clark breaking records in the WNBA. So what did Sheryl do? Not just accusing her of having extra time, she took it a step further with age shaming. Yup, she tried to downplay Caitlin's success by claiming she was way older than her peers. Let's also talk about how much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she is killing them. But you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. Like you should be killing them because you've been doing it a lot longer than they have. I guess Swoopes forgot. She was the one who started her WNBA career a bit late, not Caitlin. Swoopes didn't join the league until she was 26, back in 1997. Meanwhile, Caitlin's already making waves right out of college, breaking records like it's her day job. Imagine throwing out wild claims on a live podcast, completely forgetting to get your facts straight. That's exactly what Sheryl Swoopes did, so consumed with hate and jealousy that she didn't bother checking the basics. Honestly, Jill Arenas should have just pulled out his phone to fact-check her on the spot. I mean, a quick Google search is all it would have taken to show that Caitlin Clark is actually 22 years old, 3 years younger than what Swoopes claimed. And let's be real, 22 is pretty standard for a college senior. So Sheryl's age-shaming argument? Totally baseless. Sometimes, all you need is a phone and 30 seconds of research to keep yourself from looking like a fool on air. So now, we're 2 lies deep, and the question on everyone's mind is, why? Why would someone of Sheryl Swoopes' stature need to lie about someone else's accomplishments? Is it insecurity? Is it ego? The truth is, what's driving Swoopes isn't just simple rivalry. It seems to be something deeper. Not satisfied with just 2 lies, Swoopes thought, why stop there? So she went for a third. It's like she was thinking, if I'm already messing up, might as well go all the way. With so much confidence, she went on to claim that Caitlin Clark was taking an unreasonable number of shots every game. I can just imagine Gil Arenas sitting there, thinking, wow, Sheryl's really on top of things. Little did he know. These were all lies. 40 shots a game? That's a wild number, even for someone as talented as Caitlyn. I mean, I'm sure even Cece herself would love to take that many shots. But unless Sheryl Swoopes was counting warm-up shots, and maybe some imaginary ones, the truth is Caitlyn actually averages around 20 shots per game. That's half of what Swoopes claimed. So, unless there's a secret stat sheet we don't know about, it looks like Swoopes' math was as off as her claims. At this point, it's becoming pretty clear Sheryl Swoopes wasn't just mistaken. She was intentionally spreading lies. Ever since Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA draft, it's like Swoopes has been bitten by jealousy. Was she worried Caitlyn would come for her records? Because, oh boy, she sure hasn't been shy about it. In fact, I've got a whole video where Swoopes boldly aired out her feelings. Imagine not even being able to hide the hate. That's a whole new level of pettiness. She claimed she didn't care about the record anymore. But her actions and comments since then have told a very different story. This was the beginning of Swoopes' grudge, and it seems that ever since that day, she's been on a personal mission to discredit Caitlyn at every turn. But as we've seen, facts aren't on her side, and she's running out of ground to stand on. She must have been absolutely fuming as Caitlyn smashed through all those records. Caitlyn just won Rookie of the Year and led the Indiana Fever to the playoffs. The last Fever playoff appearance without CC was in 2016. That just shows the impact Caitlyn's had on the team. After facing intense backlash for her statements, you'd think Swoopes might take a step back and reconsider. And to be fair, she did offer something that kind of resembles an apology. Unsurprisingly, no one was buying it. Caitlyn's fans, along with observers, saw right through Swoopes' weak attempt to save face. It was clear to everyone that her so-called apology was just another way to dodge the truth. Once again, she found herself caught on the wrong side of the facts, and the public wasn't going to let it slide. You know the saying, everyone has a past. Well, I dug up some dirt, and it turns out Sheryl Swoopes should really think twice before throwing stones, especially when she's living in a glass house. While Swoopes has been busy trying to tear down Caitlyn, it turns out her own history is far from clean. Guess what I found? Swoopes, once hailed as a basketball icon, was actually under investigation for mistreating her own players during her time coaching at Loyola University. Reports came out about her belittling, humiliating, and even abusing her athletes. It got so bad that the majority of her team ended up leaving. For someone who claims to care about the future of women's basketball, this was a pretty shocking revelation. Let's be clear, we're not saying that past mistakes define who someone is today. But when you're standing on a platform, throwing shade at a rising star, and trying to rewrite the narrative with lies, it's hard to ignore your own skeletons in the closet. And now, it all makes sense why she tweeted in support of Diana Shields, who clearly bullied and fouled Caitlyn Clark. We've all heard the saying, once a bully, always a bully, and it's hard not to see the pattern here. So where does that leave us? Well, Caitlyn Clark, despite all the noise and false accusations, continues to rise. She's not only breaking records, she's breaking the mold of what it means to be a female athlete in the spotlight. When I think about Caitlyn Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady for what she did for the sport. And as for Sheryl Swoopes, she's left to deal with the fallout of her own words. Instead of being remembered solely for her accomplishments, she's now being called out for jealousy, misinformation, and a bitter attempt to hold on to her legacy. Respectfully, Sheryl Swoopes, do you have any idea how that makes you look? Do you have any idea how that serves to stain your reputation? In the end, this isn't just a story about lies and rivalry. It's a story about what happens when you can't celebrate the success of others. Caitlyn Clark will continue to make history, whether Swoopes likes it or not. And as for Sheryl, the day she was exposed as a liar will stick in the minds of basketball fans for a long time. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more sports drama. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the Swoopes versus Clark drama. Whose side are you on? And guys, how did you like the video? Please tell me by commenting. And please subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you.